Attention passionate New York Giants fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC East and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on the New York Giants' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave division rivals stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true New York Giants fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and New York Giants fans. Let's get to the news. Now folks, if you've been following the Giants this season, you know that it's been a roller coaster, a season filled with highs and lows, and right now, the team is facing a significant challenge that could seriously shake up their plans moving forward. The devastating injury to Malik Neighbors, who was beginning to make a real name for himself, is a huge blow. Malik Neighbors, a young wide receiver who showed flashes of potential, tore his ACL, and that happened just a few days ago, leaving the Giants scrambling for options. This injury isn't just a setback, it's a game changer for their entire receiver room, which was already in a bit of a flux. Neighbors had 18 catches for 271 yards and 2 touchdowns this season, and honestly, he was drawing so much attention from defenses that it's almost unimaginable how much the Giants are going to miss him. He was emerging as a reliable target, especially for their young quarterback, Jackson Dart, and losing him now leaves a massive gap that needs to be filled pronto. The Giants' wide receiver core, as it stands, isn't exactly overflowing with proven playmakers. You have Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Hyatt, Bo Collins, and Gunnar Olszewski. But Hyatt, after that promising rookie season, has been MIA since then. The team hasn't really given him many opportunities, and it seems like they're still trying to figure out what they have in him. Collins, on the other hand, was intriguing during training camp and preseason as a UDFA from Notre Dame. He's still very much a developing player, and we haven't seen enough consistency from him yet to consider him a go-to option. Gunnar Olszewski has been primarily a special teams asset, but he's shown that he can step in when needed, especially in roles similar to what Wan'Dale Robinson used to do before his injury. Meanwhile, on the practice squad, players like Ihmir Smith-Marsette, Lil Jordan Humphrey, and Dalen Camber are waiting in the wings. Humphrey, in particular, has shown some rapport with Jackson Dart during training camp, and he's a guy who could be called up if the Giants want to add some depth quickly. Humphrey's skill set leans more towards outside receiver, which could be useful, especially with the team trying to find reliable options on the outside. And let's not forget that the Giants are actively scouring the market, both free agents and practice squad players, looking for someone who can step in and make an impact immediately. Now, in terms of free agents, names like Odell Beckham Jr. and Nelson Agholor are floating around on social media, and it's no surprise. They're experienced, talented receivers who could help fill the void. But the trade market is a different beast altogether. Acquiring a veteran wideout via trade isn't simple, especially with the Giants already down a third-round pick in 2026. That's a significant asset, and trading it away isn't something they're likely to do lightly, especially given the current inflation of the receiver market. Remember, the Denver Broncos' trade of Devon Veal to the Saints for future draft picks, specifically a 2026 fourth-rounder and a 2027 seventh-rounder, has pushed the prices up, making teams more reluctant to part with valuable picks unless it's absolutely necessary. One interesting aspect is the injury to Tyreek Hill, which could push other teams to be more active on the trade front for wide receivers. But even with that, the Giants aren't in a position of desperation. They're not exactly eager to give up future assets lightly, especially with their current roster and the competitive NFC East. So the question is, who could they target in the trade market that makes sense? Well, there are a few names that could be considered, but let's focus on 3 realistic options that fit their current needs and cap situation. First, you've got Stefon Diggs, a player who makes headlines whenever his name is mentioned, but realistically, a move for him might be more of a pipe dream. Diggs, who's about to turn 32, is a familiar name for coach Brian Daboll, who coached him in Buffalo. That familiarity could make a trade somewhat smoother, given Daboll's understanding of Diggs' game and how he fits into the offense. Diggs has been targeted 22 times by Drake May this season, catching 19 of those for 213 yards with an impressive 86.4% catch rate. His yards per catch are solid at 11.2, and he's been reliable in contested catch situations, securing all three of those this season. His top speed this year is around 18.2 miles per hour, showing he still has some juice left. His snap rate has been increasing steadily, starting at 41%, then 52%, 53%, and now over 63% in recent weeks. But here's the catch: Diggs tore his ACL last October, and he's been working his way back. While he's looked good so far, his contract is hefty, signed for 3 years at $64.5 million, with an out after this season that would cost the team around $9.7 million in dead cap. That makes a trade complicated, especially for a team trying to stay financially flexible. Next on the radar is Jacoby Meyers, a player who's been linked heavily to the Giants because he reportedly asked for a trade at the start of the season. Meyers has been a consistent performer for the Raiders, playing over 94% of snaps in every game and commanding a target share of around 29%. He's caught 21 of 32 targets for 258 yards, with a catch rate of 65.6%. Meyers, who primarily lines up in the slot, about 64% of the time is versatile enough to play outside too, and he's shown he can do a lot with limited opportunities. His contract, a 3-year, $33 million deal, is coming to an end, and he's in the final year of that deal. The Giants could look at signing him long-term, or possibly just trading for now, hoping to keep him if they don't want to lose him in free agency. The interesting thing here is that Meyers has experience in complex offenses, having played with the Patriots before, so he could adapt quickly. Plus, if he leaves, the Giants could potentially earn a compensatory pick, depending on how the offseason shakes out. Then there's Rashid Jr., who's been making some noise in recent months. He's a 24-year-old who played at Oklahoma and Missouri, and he's shown flashes of potential in the preseason, catching 10 passes for 104 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's a tall, athletic receiver, 6'3", 200 pounds, who's shown he can be a reliable target downfield. His speed is notable, with a 4.28 40-yard dash at his pro day, and he's been involved in the Saints' offense this year. The Saints, after trading Veal, might be looking to recover some draft capital, and Shahid is a more affordable option at around $4.2 million this year. He's a deep threat with a 14.2-yard average at the target, and he's been active in about 70% of the snaps every game. For the Giants, he could be a cost-effective addition who can stretch the field and add some much-needed speed. But let's be honest, trading for big-name veterans like Diggs or even Meyers isn't the only route. The Giants might have more success by exploring their own practice squad options. They have players like Davis, who's familiar with Daboll from their time together in Buffalo. Davis is still young, only 26, and has a good size, 6'3", 225 pounds. He's been bouncing around the league, including Jacksonville, but he could be worth a shot to see if he can develop into a dependable target. Perry, a 6th-round pick from 2023, is now on the Broncos' practice squad after a stint with the Saints. He's a contested catch specialist, and at 6'3", 205 pounds, he's got the size to be a mismatch for defenders. Jr. and Skinner are other intriguing options, young, talented, and ready to prove themselves. Skinner, a 6'5", 200-pound rookie who played at Kansas, caught 80 passes for over 500 yards and 11 touchdowns in college, and he's shown some flashes in the NFL preseason. He's a big target with good hands and could develop into a reliable outside receiver if given the opportunity. So, what does all this mean for the Giants? Well, it's clear that they're actively looking for solutions. They've been in contact with several players and agents, and they're not hesitating to explore every avenue to bolster their receiving core. The injury to Neighbors forces their hand, and they need to act fast to avoid this becoming a season-defining issue. Whether it's through a trade, signing free agents, or adding young talent from the practice squad, they've got options. The key is to find someone who can step in immediately and contribute, especially given how important the passing game has become for them. With Jackson Dart still developing, the Giants need reliable targets to help him grow and to keep their playoff hopes alive. And let's not forget the bigger picture here. The NFC East is fiercely competitive. The Eagles, Cowboys, and Commanders all have formidable defenses and dynamic offenses. The Giants need every edge they can get, and bolstering that wide receiver room could be the difference between a playoff berth and an early offseason. It's about making strategic moves, finding players who fit their system, who understand Daboll's complex offense, and who can make an immediate impact. Whether that's through a trade for a veteran with experience or developing young players on the roster, the Giants are clearly in a decisive mode. In the end, this season could hinge on how well they adapt to these setbacks. The loss of Neighbors is tough, but it's also an opportunity for other players to step up. Bo Collins, who has shown glimpses, or Gunnar Olszewski with his special teams background, might be called upon more often. And if they decide to explore the trade route, the options are there, from seasoned veterans to promising young talents on practice squads. It's a period of uncertainty, yes, but also a chance for the Giants to show resilience and strategic thinking. They've been building towards something special, and how they respond now could define their season. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest New York Giants news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, New York Giants fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Do you think they should pull off a trade for a veteran like Diggs or Mayers? Or do you believe they should focus on their young players and practice squad options? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Giants. We're all in this together, and your insights help shape the conversation. Remember, the season is still very much alive, and the Giants have the talent and the coaching staff to turn things around. But it's all about making the right moves at the right time, and I'll be here to keep you updated every step of the way. So stay tuned for more news, analysis, and behind-the-scenes info on your favorite team. Thanks for sticking with me, and until next time, let's go Giants!